everyone! In our last two videos, we learned what enums are and how to use them with if, else, and switch statements. Today we are going to go much deeper and learn about enum as a class, how enums can have constructors, variables, and methods, and making them much more powerful than simple name constants. In Java, every enum implicitly extends java.lang.Enum. Let me write it, java.lang.Enum. The superclass or parent class of all enums. This is where all the useful methods like ordinal, values, and so on come from. They are all defined in the enum superclass or parent class. We can prove this. Let me create an enum reference variable, status, for example s, and then status dot, for example, success. Now let me just use the reference variable getClass method and getSuperclass method. Let me run the program. Yeah, java.lang.Enum. This confirms that every enum automatically extends java.lang.Enum. Now here is an important rule. Because every enum already extends java.lang.Enum, you cannot extend any other class with an enum. Java does not support multiple inheritance for classes, and the enum superclass slot is already taken. However, enum can implement interfaces, which gives them additional flexibility. Now here is where things get really interesting. Enums can have constructors. The constructor in an enum is always private, and it should always be private, because we only create enum objects within the enum itself, and nobody outside should be creating new enum constants, right? The constructor is called automatically for each enum constant at the time the enum class is loaded. So if you have 4 enum constants, the constructor is called 4 times, once for each one. Let's see this in action. We already have the class. Let's just create a constructor. Private, the name of the class. Let me just copy and paste it here. Parentheses, and call it braces. I want to print constructor called for, and to call each one I use the keyword this. Now let me run the program. Yeah, even we only reference success here, all 4 constructors were called at class loading time, 1 for each constants. Now let's create a much more powerful enum, one with private variables and a parameterized constructor. Let me just remove this one. Create a variable and code. Now let me write a code for each constant that we have. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now to access this code, this variable, we need to write setter and getter methods because this one is private. So to set it value private status int code, it is a parameterized constructor. So now it is that code equal code. Now to get it, we write a getter, something like public, return type get code, and call it braces. And for sure, for getter we have a return keyword and code. So let's break this down. So here we have the constants, 4 constants, and each constant passes its own value to constructor. For example, running passes 1, fill passes 2, pending passes 3, and fill passes 4. And private int getCode is a private instance variable that stores the code for each constants, and private status endCode is the parameterized constructor that accepts the code value and assigns it to the instance variable. Notice it is private, as it should always be in an enum. And public int getCode, a getter method to access the private code variable from outside the enum. Now let's use this enum. It already has status, then s as an enum reference variable. Now let me call first this variable, reference variable. We have success, right, for this variable. Now let's call the method s.getCode. Now let's run the program. We have 4. Now let's iterate through all constants and print their codes. So we use for loop, and in here for sure we can use the enhanced for loop. We create our own variable here. The data type is status, then st, the name of our variable, then status.values. We call this method, and then we want to print the value of st, which is each constant, and then we use concatenation, for example code, and then we again use concatenation because we want to print the value of code, like 1, 2, 3 each code. So we use st again dot getCode. Now let me run the program. Yeah, we have running code 1, running or maybe failed code 2, pending 3, and success code 4. Each constant has its own unique code value stored in the private variable, accessed through the getter method. And that is enum as a class in Java. If you enjoy watching this video, make sure to like and subscribe the channel so you never miss a video. See you in the next one.